We are so close to business as somewhat usual. Whatever, we don't know what usual is going to look like, in the coming months. But, in terms of people's scarcity and their behavior to buy, that's very largely behind us. Okay, so I'm talking to architects, I'm talking to builders, I'm talking to those people. They're having more inquiry now than they have in the last 90 days. And I think, because not everybody's suffering, as we said on the last call. So now, I might be a little bit out, right? Because I'm just kind of reading the state of the nation, comparing it to other world events, pulling that kind of data to crystal ball where we're going. But what we do know is that what we do know is what we don't want to do is wait until the lamestream media tell us that we're good again, right? That's a huge mistake because by then everybody else will be prospering, right? Because they're not going to bring any good news until way too late. So what we do know is we fully have to jump early. We don't want to jump too early and burn cash on marketing and branding and those sort of things, but we definitely want to jump ahead of the pack. And that's what now is in the cycle, more than a month ago. A month ago, we spoke about things like, finances for the sake of damage control, getting our house in order. Here we are 1 month later, we have to turn our attention to expanding very, very quickly. Okay, this is the time. If you leave it later than this, all you're doing is leaving money and momentum on the table, okay? So the reason why it's now, when everybody is still a little bit scared or the media are producing fear, is because your competitors are still scared to move. That's why you've got to go now. You've got to get that first mover advantage again over the marketplace. Now's the go time. Now is the time that we go hard. And if you don't have a lot of inquiry right now, you need to really go hard. If you've got lots of inquiry right now, you need to really go hard. You guys probably remember, because I've said this more than once, it costs billions of dollars for large corporations to be the top of mind company in an industry, right? Safest car, Volvo. They spend billions to achieve that top of mind awareness, okay? And all these companies, every industry has a incumbent large company that's in there, and they have invested to carve that niche out in our mind, okay? That's how the big business do it. For you, it's exactly the same, okay? But it may not be globally, it may not be nationally, it may not be state-based, it's wherever you are. But there will be one top-of-mind company across the majority of people that will be the same business. And if that's not you, now is the time that you knock them off their perch. Now is the time when you can put so much messaging into your area about your industry and your products that when people think of your industry, they think of you. Now is the time in the cycle to absolutely dominate, to either really cement the hard work of the past or to knock the incumbent off their perch and become that company. You have to start thinking about massive reach, top of funnel, broad level, and so forth, okay? You have to. You've got to start to think about putting your brand and your message across far more people than you have been now, because of the curve, more than ever. We do have to change our message a little bit. We do have to think through how do we language our products and go out massively to our market with a message that's more sensitive to what's going on, okay? I don't know what's coming through your news feed right now, but so much of it is the same messaging that was coming through 3 months ago. And they're getting no traction, that stuff, because it seems insensitive, right? It seems insensitive at best when businesses, it's like they've just done a set and forget campaign, right? Which is terrible. So we do have to tailor a little bit of what our message is to the market. That takes a little bit of work, okay? You're right. So, off the top of my head, I look at Tim and I go, Tim, who does branding, instead of marketing, like the old message of like, whatever, we'll just get you more customers would have worked 4 months ago. It's not going to work now. Tim's going to have to come over there with a message like I've got, like most businesses are going to fail. It's the one, because of the virus. It's the ones that brand that are going to win. And so far I can help you with that, right? So It's just taking my core business and what's going on and coming up with a way. Working with a Sparky, it's like, hey, listen, more people are spending time at home. So for all the jobs booked in May, we're going to do an extra 15-minute check of the box and all the stuff and do far more testing we normally would, completely free, because we want everybody to feel safe while there's more people in the house, right? It's just about taking what you normally do, coming up with a COVID message, putting them together, and putting those out there. The second moving part that we need to consider here is what's your creative, the images, the videos, the text. I think it's time to really step up our game in terms of the professionalism of the creative. I've said to you guys in the past that you can get away with, raw creative. You can get away with a video done on a camera and posted. But I do think that right now, when there's more eyes on social media than normal, and you're competing with a 24-hour news cycle in people's news feeds, it's hard right now to break that noise. I think one of the things that will actually, end up being quite a big pillar is well-produced creative. So that doesn't necessarily mean you have to have expensive equipment. It just needs to be thought through, okay? A nice, like what you're wearing needs to be sharp. The background needs to be sharp. The lighting needs to be sharp. The audio needs to be sharp, okay? You don't have to race out and spend a fortune on equipment. You can, for example, you can use an iPhone for a head and shoulder video as long as you've got a different mic, and maybe you're capturing the audio into another phone, which means you've got two files and you pay a VA to put them together, so you've got a sharp video. That you can hack at this to make it affordable, but the end result needs to be well-produced creative, okay? It needs to be better than it probably has been in the past, because that's what's going to make people go, because it's a heavy time in the world. People are looking for well-done, heavy kind of content. And I really think it's a variable that's going to make a difference ongoing, but right now, a lot, okay? So we just can't get away with sloppy creative. And it's perfect. If we've come up with a new message, then it's obvious that we need to produce new creative, but I want you to step up the game with this. Now, I'm not giving you a license to take 4 weeks to do it, because this thing's going to be over in 4 weeks. You're going to miss the mark if you wait 4 weeks to do this. This has got to be done in the next 7 days. New creative, make it look sharp, and start getting it out to a large group of people, okay, with this new message. And you will see that you'll start to build a brand more with well-produced content with a sensitive message than you did beforehand, if you get this across enough people, okay? So the text needs to be sharp, any photos and images need to be well-produced, and your videos need to be well-produced, okay? You've got to step up your game in that area with lighting, with audio, with how it looks, okay? You really have to step that up. Then you've got to be able to test and measure. It still astounds me, the amount of people that have been in my world for years, and when I say to them, all right, how much are you spending on that campaign and how much is it bringing in? They draw a blank. It's not okay to draw a blank. I'm trying to push you to be the CEO of a business. If you're a CEO, you would be data-driven, and to do that, you need to know the basic, where is your capital being deployed to give you the greatest outcome, okay? That's all we do as CEOs. We deploy capital for the greatest outcome. We just happen to do it through business. So I need to be able to know from you where every dollar went and where every dollar came back in. And I need to know I spent this much on Facebook and it produced this many leads, this many quotes, this much money. I spent this much on this campaign, it brought this many leads, this much money. Like I need to be able to follow the thread of every dollar out to every dollar in. And if you don't have that, then you're going to waste money on campaigns that either don't work or aren't working. You have to burn money because you don't know. You can't make informed decisions if you don't have a tight test and measure process. It doesn't have to be crazy detailed. I've told you before, you can have a sheet of paper which tracks the incoming leads. And then you could write a surname every time a lead comes in. And then at the end of the month, go back through your invoicing and say, did Smith go ahead? No. Did Mary go ahead? Yes, $276. Like, it can be as rogue as that. During the month, filling out a sheet of paper with ticks on where they came from, where the lead came from, a surname, and then at the end of the month, tallying it up. It can be that simple, but you just have to have the data, because if you don't have the data at this time, you are going to go backwards, okay? So we need to tighten that up. It's not okay to be, I've got a handle on it. No. I want numbers. I want actual metrics that matter, okay? And then you've got to monitor your acquisition cost. And the reason why I say that is because we're about to flood the market with a brand new message and blow up the amount of people that know about you. Well, the outworking of that is we need to maintain our acquisition cost. Some of you are going to reduce your acquisition cost because of just the sheer volume that you're going to go to. Some of you run the risk of blowing out your acquisition cost, and that's okay because the long-term play of 10 times as many people knowing about you is so big, but you still want to manage that, okay? So you want to be tracking your acquisition cost every single month, at least every single month. Ultimately, it would be per strategy, per pillar. My acquisition cost for Facebook is this, my acquisition cost for Google is this. And I know some of you guys have that because you sent it to me for your homework. But let's just, at the very least, manage our overall acquisition cost month on month on month so that you can see if it's going up or down or whatever, sideways, okay? They're the variable parts that we need to get to, but I guess, the really big component, because you've heard all that before, apart from crafting a new message that's sensitive because it needs to be done right now, I guess ultimately you're just not making enough noise. You guys are not making enough noise in your marketplace to draw 50% more inbound inquiry, 100% more inbound, 200% more inbound. That's how you need to be thinking right now. Size, scale. When everybody else is like a deer in the headlights, you need to start thinking about 5xing or 10xing your reach, okay? And if it can't be your reach because you're meeting everybody in your area, then you need to think about 5xing or 10xing the frequency of your content being seen by those people, okay? I can't stress enough that at a time when everybody's pulling back and working out how to play small, the long-term benefit of you 5xing your message that's sensitive to what's going on right now, what that means for you over a 5 to 10 year window is massive dollars, okay? But you're going to miss it if you do not action this in the next 7 days, start in 7 days and go for another 30 or 45 days from here, okay? You will miss the opportunity because everyone's going to go back to whatever the new normal is, which will look a little bit mostly like it was beforehand, and off we go, okay? You've got to start thinking about how do I fight? What do I mean by 5x? It could be I'm reaching 10,000 people a month through social. I want to go to 50,000 people a month. It could be that I'm quoting 2 jobs a month. I need to quote 10 jobs a month, right? It could be, that I'm spending $1,000 on marketing. I need to spend $5,000 on marketing. That's what I mean, quantum jumps in reach, messaging, which will produce incoming leads, which will mean more work coming through your business, okay? It's not only going to be good for now, it's going to be good for the rest of time if you can really start to think about 5xing and 10xing. And by the way, that's all it takes to get this done, is a decision that goes, okay, I'm going to 5 times the amount of people that I've been talking to in the past. Okay, that's really where we got to get to. All right, so that's the name of the game, and we need to look at exactly how that works. The things that are working incredibly well right now to multiply your reach, the pillars that are working really well is straight out phone calls, right? If you've got spare time, ring everybody on your database. Ring your customers from last month, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 24 months ago. Just start ringing everybody that you've ever done business with, okay? I'm checking in with you. How's everything in your world? By the way, we've got this crazy, whatever your new message is, we've got this crazy thing going on. Is there any need for that? Is there anything I can help you with? Next one. Start ringing, start calling every business card you've ever met. Start calling every past customer you've ever been to, right? Just start calling people. It's a phenomenal strategy because people are having time now. Personal connections much higher than it used to be because We're interacting a lot more and so forth, right? So get on the phone and start ringing everybody. The second one is emails. Start emailing more frequently, okay? Get your email database, doesn't matter if it's 10 people or 10,000, start hitting them with valuable content, ideas, your new message, offers, okay? Just start pushing out. You can be far more frequent right now on email than you could have been 3 months ago, and people are okay with it because our attention to devices is 7 times higher than it was beforehand. Facebook and Instagram for ads is phenomenal right now, as long as your message is sensitive and tailored to what's going on, okay? You can put out this well-produced content, turn it into ads on Insta, turn it into ads on Facebook, and just be candid with people and tell them what's going on and give them your new message. And you will see a huge amount of upside in what's going on. And Google AdWords is obviously going well. In many cases, not always, but in many cases, the cost per click is down 20% because people have pulled back from AdWords because they're trying to conserve, which means that the auction has dropped, which means it's cheaper to run a campaign. And it may not be cheaper for you, or you can get 20% more traffic for the same amount of money. Let's be doubling down on AdWords. If it's working for you right now, don't let this pass. Put twice as much money in that system and check that you're going to get twice as much when you do your test and measure, okay? These are the strategies that right now are working incredibly well. And there's more than that, right? Wow boxes are still going to be okay. Joint ventures will be great. But the ones that you should really be smashing right now is ads on Facebook, Insta, and AdWords, and far more calling people and far more emails. You can do a lot more touching lives now than you could have done 3 months ago, all right? So activity is the key. Like, you know, if you're the kind of business that quotes projects, ring 100 new builders in the next 14 days and say, hey, you know, it might be hard for you to find a tradesperson right now. We've got capacity. We'd love to work for you. Can I quote some of your work? Like, you ring 100, you might get 4 people that go, yep, you can start quoting for me. And one of them gives you a job starting in 2 weeks' time. That's good for business, okay? That's the hallmark of an entrepreneur right now. You have got to be a sniper. You've got to be you've got to think far more about hunting right now, all right? Hunting all the time. Where am I getting reach? Where am I getting leads? How am I converting them? Who am I calling today? Who am I emailing today? That's what's going to not only help your business in the short term, but it's going to help your business forever. Because A, there'll be new relationships that are formed, and B, that discipline of being that on the front foot will stay with you for the rest of the time, and that's going to make you lots and lots of money.
No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I tell 'em run it all.